This whole thing smacks of gender. Anyway, happy 4th of July, everybody! Or, rather, my fellow Americans. For the non-Americans in the audience. Hi, I guess. Well, finally here with London Detective Mysteria. And, I'm mostly recovered from my illness, mostly just a slight fever, which is why still the cold compress. But I'm okay now. I'm all okay. Just got back from my parents and I'm doing just fine. And I'm doing just fine. What were we doing last time? Exactly, Tuxedoji. What was happening last time? I can't... it was that we had discovered Lupin's identity because he did his, like, his card tricks to, protect us. And everybody knows that John Lupin is the only one who's able to use cards as weapons. John Lupin and Magic Kaito, who I guess is basically anime John Lupin. Has anybody else ever read Magic Kaito before? I know that there was a new anime. I had mostly read the manga, and it's really interesting, I think, in how unabashedly magic it is compared to the author's other work, Detective Conan, which is ostensibly scientific despite everything. I wonder what Conan would think about Kaito's classmate who is just, like, legitimately a witch. Are there any witches in the original Lupin books? Come to think of it, I don't know a lot about Lupin in general, besides that, you know, he steals things? The originals, I mean. I know a lot about John Lupin in this game. For example, I know that I love him. I love him. I love him, but only on my own. Anyway. It was, right. The warmth within closed eyes. The Metropolitan Police Scotland Yard, as it is also known, is the headquarters for the many young, bright-eyed officers who work daily to patrol London's streets. At its entrance was a comical sight, Sherlock Holmes, ever refined, and Inspector Lestrade, pleading desperately for the detective's assistance. Oh, Sherlock! With an S!
なあ、ホームズさん。あなたは今までのルパンジュニアの犯行についてどう思います？
Sherlock, your dad is hot!
手口は大胆かつ計画的。己の方針を徹底していますな。努力の甲斐なく獲物を盗まれた者たちには同情を禁じ得ないな。
Aw, that's high praise.
そんな薄情なことを言わんでくださいよ。
Oh no, Freya, run. If it's Sherlock with an S, he isn't legally allowed to respect women. Oh no! Then how did he marry one? I let him snort cocaine from between the cracks of my thighs platonically.
あなたはあのアルセーヌ・ルパンと渡り合ったんでしょ？その後継者がロンドンで好き勝手してるんですよ。なんとも思わないんですか？
思わなくないこともないが、あいにく今は私も手が塞がっていてね。
More importantly, Sherlock, you never faced off with Arsène Lupin. That was your doppelganger, Sherlock Sholmes. Not to be confused with your son, Sherlock Holmes.
見ればわかりますよ。ステッキとパイプを持っているんですから。
ま、そういうことだ。他うっかりしようものなら、このお気に入りのパイプをなくしてしまう。それは避けたい。
Sherlock, your dad is on the drugs.
それに、ルパンジュニアには私より息子の方ががぜんやる気を見せているからな。そっちに当たってくれ。
Good for him encouraging his son's special interests.
息子思いないい父親ですな。思わず涙がこぼれてしまう。
警部が涙。うわ、鬼の目にも涙ってやつですか？
Ryan is trying his best.
違うわバカ者。 人の皮肉に純粋な質問をぶつけるな。
He's trying his best.
ホワイトリー邸から盗まれた写真。そこに写っていたのは女王陛下にミス・ホワイトリーの両親、そしてその友人たち。作品性を求めるのであれば肖像画の方がずっと魅力的なはずだ。なのになぜルパンジュニアはフェイクを仕掛けてまで写真を盗み出したのか。
まあ勝手に長所をめくらないでくださいよ。さっき綺麗に揃えたんですから。
ああ、すまないなライアン君。手が塞がってても長年の手癖というのはなかなか抜けなくてね。
I hope that Ryan gets his own sub ending. Several weeks came and went with no sign of Lupin. My focus dropped splendidly in this time. Were the men I knew one and the same? Where did Lupin take the photograph? Studies became plagued with questions I could not answer, and rather than dismiss them, my mind kneaded them again and again in an endless loop. Until the nation was once more set into hysteria by the new declaration. The gentleman thief wrote in his usual flourish that his next target would be a pure variety of aquamarine, known as Santa Maria. Oh, like the boat? A researcher of distinguished celebrity was in possession of the gemstone he penned, which would soon, if all went as intended, be quite out of his possession. Hi, Zakuichi! It was rumored to be in a research facility within Cheddar Gorge, located far west of London.
このままじゃルーピンのことも写真の行方もつかめないままだわ。なんとしてもこのチャンスに彼を問い詰めなくちゃ。
Yeah, we gotta find him and kiss him. Holmes and Watson were to visit the facility at the request of Scotland Yard, and they saw no reason not to allow me to come with them. They weren't trying hard enough. The facility, as I'd heard it, held a reputation as a modern aquarium, with its rooms hosting massive tanks full of life. Were we not there for a case, I may have wanted to visit it just to gaze at the many vibrant fish and aquatic plants.
おお、本当に魚が泳いでる。
Aww,
綺麗だな。
he really does love animals.
はあ、ワトソン君、僕たちは遊びに来たんじゃないんだぞ。それに忘れていないか。あれはすべてフィッシュ&チップスのフィッシュだ。
Holmes! For the record, Cheddar Gorge is in Cheddar, Somerset, which is where the cheese of the same name was invented. Oh, I thought that it was named that because it had a lot of holes in it or something. That's neat.
僕たちの食事に出てくる魚と。
Wait, that's Swiss cheese. My brain is made of Swiss.
そういう言い方をされるとなんだか素直にめでられなくなるわ。
It's pronounced Somerset. My brain is made of Swiss cheese.
ホームズ君は現実的ですね。
And Pendleton is here too, I guess. With the distance between London and the gorge being so great, it was only natural Pendleton would be with me.
ホームズジュニア、残念だが今回君たちの出番はなさそうだ。
レストレード警部もライアンさんも。宝石は絶対に見つからない場所に隠されています。その隠し場所を知っているのは、そう警部とこの僕だけです。
Wow, they're so confident. They're gonna mess up spectacularly. The sergeant stood boldly upright whilst he fixed his sleeves, a smirk crooked at such a comical angle that nothing could straighten it. I did notice the fabric at his elbows was a bit damp, but I kept that to myself.
他の者は誰も知りません。もちろん君たちにも教えません。
I want to go to an aquarium with Pendleton and stare at the gorgeous jellyfish, the only things that can take my eyes off him. That's so romantic. Ah, I wish I was a jellyfish. No brain.
それに今回はただのダミーではない。ちょっとでも台座から動かしたら仕掛けてた檻が落下。ルパン。
人の研究所によくそんな罠を仕掛けられましたね。
心よく協力してくださいましたよ。哀れにも泥棒はそのまま連行決定です。
でも彼は罠にかからないかもしれないわ。
だとしても彼が本物のサンタマリアを盗み出すことは叶うまい。彼の予告は破れるとこの我々が証明してみせる。
そのためにも秘密は徹底厳守です。本物の隠し場所は言いませんよ。
It's in one of the tanks, isn't it?
あなたたちの誰かがルパンジュニアかもしれないんですから。そう例えば君とか。
この光景
In the same manner as before, Ryan thrust his arm forwards and pointed. He deserves this, AG. He was confident he knew precisely who the culprit was. The sergeant believed the thief to be disguised as none other than...
僕がルパンだと。
Holmes appeared calm in the face of this accusation. Hi, Mira! Here to bully me? Yay!
ホームズがルパン？この反感を買いそうな皮肉役長も上から目線でいつも自信家なところもいつものホームズみたいだけれど。
Do you know what you are? An idiot sandwich? Tell me, Mira! Tell me, Mira-senpai! A ray of sunshine?
ミス・ホワイトリー、君、今失礼なことを考えなかったか？
そんなこと考えてないわ。
はあ、ライアンさん、よかったら僕に分かるように教えてくれませんか？
簡単ですよ。僕の直感です。
そんな理由？このバカ者、もうちょっとそれっぽい理由を考えろ。
いや、警部、人の直感はバカにできません。事件の重要な判断材料ですよ。
肯定するってことはまさかホームズ。
No, you're bullying correctly. Keep going.
言っておくが、僕は本物だ。
よし、じゃあ俺が本物にしかわからないことを質問してやるよ。この前ホームズが朝食食べてた時にアパートの窓枠に猫がいたと思うけど。
ワトソン君、君はまさか見ていたのか？
Holmes, who had yet to so much as twitch, appeared to be shaken by this news.
ほら、さっさと答えてくれよ。追い払ったのか放っておいたのか。
ホームズのことだから興味。
餌付けをした。
Aww, cute. My surprise was genuine. Holmes managing to feed an animal was absurd, surely. He had such poor luck with them that I'd sooner expected the cat to flee the moment it saw its face.
あともうちょっとだったのに惜しかったよな。あんな風に餌を押し付けちゃダメなんだよ。あっちから来るのを待たなくちゃ。
Holmes tried so hard. Thank you, Mira-senpai.
なぜ君から動物の扱いの助言を聞かされなければならないんだ。こんな場所で。
いや、でも俺は嬉しかったんだぜ。人間と仲良くしようとしないホームズが動物と心の交流を試みるなんて。
Is it because you and the cat are the same? Tsundere? Watson's enthusiasm when recounting the tale was only as much as Holmes' repugnance.
よかった。とりあえずホームズは本物だな。
僕の疑いを晴らすとはさすがワトソン君だ。
やだな、そんなに褒めるなって。
Just a second. back. Sorry, had to help my roommate with something. Ah. Why? My camera. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. Okay.
それならば僕も助手である君の疑いは晴らしておくべきだ。そう。
ホームズワトソンの顔に手を伸ばして何を
Oh, please no bully.
まさか
Please no bully. Holmes spared no heart as he pulled on Watson's cheeks, who cried with the same level of enthusiasm he displayed in bliss. Poor Watson. It's okay, I'll go for your route next. With one perhaps pointless mystery out of our way, I instructed Pendleton to survey our area around the facility, whilst myself and the others investigated within. Holmes retired for the room containing aquatic plants, and Watson left for the rooftop.
本物だって証明するためとはいえワトソンがちょっと気の毒だったかも。それにしてもこのアクアリウム
I admired the many tanks with a twinkle of wonder. Luminous tanks featuring both freshwater and saltwater fish were on display in dark rooms to convey a sense of touring the ocean. Ooh, it's been a while since I went to an aquarium. Each tank was a faithful recreation of its respective environment, as well as massive enough to allow the life swimming within comfort equal to that of the real thing. In the same tank? Oh no!
ほらあそこで泳いでる魚
I could go for some sushi. Through wandering, did I find myself drawn to one in particular. The fish inside were small enough to fit several of them on a tablespoon, where they'd be carefully scooped up. Please don't. Before me was a living painting of reds, yellows, and blues, all dashing and intermingling with the flow of a brush to canvas. Shapes merged, dispersed, and stretched to no rhyme. 1 second served a different visual to the next. What energy! What beauty!
ふわふわしてて幻想的だわ。まるで夢の中の世界みたい。
Miss Whiteley also wants sushi.
確かにそうだね。この中に広がる世界は美しい。
今の声。
でも君は知っているか？優雅に泳ぐ彼らは常に騙され続けて生きているということ。魚たちにとってこれはただの牢獄だ。それに気づかず彼らが美しい世界を彩っているのを君は知っている？
I'm a prisoner to your love, Lupin.
ルパンあなたそこにいるのね。
The tank's back was fitted with a mirror, making it impossible for me to see what was on the other side. Oh, this is a really good CD. Nice, nice, nice.
言っ
Nice.
ておくけど、もし君が余計な動きを見せたら、僕は姿を消すよ。
Oh, like a mirage.
私が動かなければルパンは逃げないってこと。
一歩も動かないってことは、君は僕を捕まえる以外に何か用事でもあるのかい？そんなに僕に会いたかったとか？
I don't know what that word is, Tuxedoji. My brain is cheddar cheese.
私の質問に答えて。あなたの正体はルーピンだったの？
君、それ普通逆じゃないのか？ルーピンの正体はあなたって尋ねるものじゃないの？
Décolletage. What's décolletage?
どっちがあなたの正体なのかはどうだっていいわ。私が一番聞きたかったのは、どうして学園に来なくなったのかってことよ。
And I'm more interested in how did you get in school to begin with? Indeed, I had no clues to what he was thinking, and indeed, I knew he was the key to retrieving my photograph. But more than I desired an answer for either of those things, did I want him to know my anger after he was gone.
君は怪盗の僕に随分おかしな質問をするんだな。
言っていたとかいないとか、そういう問題じゃないわ。
A low neckline anywhere from above the chest to cleavage. He does have a nice brocoletage. Nice!
あなたにとってハリントン学園って一体何だったの？そこで過ごした時間は、思い出はそんなに簡単に捨てられるものだったの？
そんなことを聞いて、君は僕に何て答えてほしいんだ？
質問も質問で返さないでちょうだい。私にとって学園はとても大切な場所よ。それにルーピンだって、あなただって大切な仲間だと思っていたわ。
Don't you remember when I fell in love with you at first sight?
それがいきなり消えてしまうだなんて。
これは遊びでも授業でもない。慣れ合って仲良しを演じている暇はもう僕にはないんだ。僕には目的がある。それを果たすまで立ち止まるつもりはない。もちろん君に写真を返すつもりもない。たとえそれが君にとって大切なものであっても、僕は譲らない。
あなたって自分勝手ね。
You look kinda better with glasses, but it's okay. I love you no matter how you look.
自分のためなら思い出もつながりも簡単に切り捨てられる人なのね。
It's because he's lying to himself.
ねえ、君、物語は好き？
Either he wasn't aware of my anger or he didn't care. Whatever the answer, the tone which Lupin assumed was almost painful in its gaiety.
自分勝手を承知で君に聞いてほしい物語がある。聞いてくれる？
Always. I supposed my silence was taken as consent, for he soon began. And I had no reason not to listen, for his voice added something quite pleasant to the fish I loved to watch. Ah. Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful princess. She was one free of spirit. No man, woman, or being could rule her heart. Yet there were those who despised this about her, and so they stole her liberty through imprisonment in a dark castle. Under duress beyond her means, she waited. She waited for a hero, waited for a prince, waited for a miracle, but none of these came. Her freedom, instead, was restored by none other than a gentlemanly thief. This thief stole her away, and the two fell into everlasting love. Their love in time blessed them with a child, and oh, did they spoil this boy rotten.
ママはね、あなたくらい小さな頃からおとぎ話が大好きだったのよ。白雪姫の魔法の鏡に シンデレラのガラスの靴。
物語の中にしか出てこない宝物なんて本当にあるわけないだろ。憧れたってしょうがないよ。
あら、パパだったらそんな宝物を盗み出せるかもしれないわよ。ママに生まれて初めて宝物をプレゼントしてくれたのはパパよ。ほら、このネックレス綺麗じゃない？
ママはいつもそのネックレスを僕に見せるけど、僕よりもそのネックレスの方が大事。
Oh, jeez, he is a grim kid.
そんなに拗ねないで。パパとママの一番の宝物はここにちゃんとあるもの。
子供扱いされるのは嫌だけど、ママにこうやってギュッてされるのは好き。
Oh, he was such an honest little boy.
あらあら、あなたは本当に可愛いわね。誰に似たのかしら。
The princess was a mother now, but even in motherhood, her nature held true. She wished for a world beyond the mundane, hungered for it. Her man would not hear of it at first. The danger was too great. But his love had a will of iron, and his that of wood, which was soon chipped away by a persistence that would not soften. He permitted her to assist in his work. Knowing his mother wished to help his father was a source of conflict for their son. The boy inherited his father's natural gift for thievery. It was quite possibly, as early as the day he could stand, that he was placed under strict instruction to bring out further potential. He knew but this one world. That is extremely irresponsible. What the heck, Lupin? So remarkable was his talent that his father expected celebrity that would one day match his own. Still, the boy did not rejoice. Arsene, what are you thinking? He had no want to become a successor.
パパにはママがいて、ママにはパパがいる。僕がいくら頑張ったってしょうがないじゃないか。
Baby. The world changed when harm came to his mother. Ah!
ごめんなさい。ちょっとお仕事で閉じしちゃったわ。
His father took her into his arms, but no matter how many times he pleaded with her, she would not speak of how she was injured. The necklace she always wore was nowhere to be seen. Their son took her hand and squeezed it, but his warmth could not become hers. Minute after minute, her body grew colder.
ママはね、小さな頃からおとぎ話が大好きで。だけど、私を救い出してくれたのは、笑顔の素敵な泥棒だった。
ママ、もう喋らないで。手がこんなに冷たい。もう何も言わないで。
Please, baby.
泥棒のパパに盗まれたおかげで、ママは幸せを知ることができた。
Why are they still doing illegal things? They have a child.
二人とも私の大切な宝物よ。愛しているわ。
In the presence of her love and her child, she breathed her last. The two were overcome with grief. There was nothing that could fill the hole in the boy's heart. It was then that he accepted the world of his fathers, stealing one treasure after another, endlessly, in dear hopes of discovering a beauty that would one day heal his wounds.
なんて泣かせる話があったらいいよね。
I don't know why I touched the glass then. It was cold, and its touch was so different to its brilliant color.
どうしてそんな話を私に？
君に聞いてほしかったから。それでは満足しない？
ルパン、私の気持ちは変わらないわ。私は私の宝物を取り戻したい。
勇ましい返答だね。 君のそういうところ嫌いじゃないよ。
I like every part of you, Lupin.
私はそうやって人をからかって嘘つくところ。
ふん、じゃあそれ以外においては僕を好きでいてくれるってこと？
Some people commit felonies to cope.
どうしてそういうことになるの？
なんてね。君ともう少しここで話していたかったけれど、レディの返事を待たずに去る無礼を許してほしい。君とのひととき楽しかった。あと話を聞いてくれてありがとう。
待って。
He could have heard me, or he could have ignored it. But by the time I called to him, he was no longer there. My emotions surged in unrest, and the fish, swimming in all their color, continued to paint in unrest as well. The inspector was greeted soon after with news. There had been quiet in the hours the men dispersed to search for clues, so he thought one had been found when he heard the footsteps of several flushed officers approaching.
レストレード警部、ライアン巡査部長、大変です。落ち着くんだ。何事かね。我々が設置した鉄の檻が作動しました。
ルパンを捕まえたのか？
いえ、それが。
ごめんなさい。いきなり背後から襲われて気がついたらこの中に。
Oh, poor Watson.
ワトソン君、君は一体何をしているんだ？
警部、もしワトソン君を襲ったのがルパンならば、彼は偽物に気づき本物のサンタマリアを。
そうだな。早く本物の水槽を。
待ってください。
なんだよ、ホームズ。
Is it time for Watson cheek pinching again?
本物のサンタマリアを見つける方法は大きく分けて2つあります。一つは推理と分析によって自力で見つけ出す方法。そしてもう一つは手っ取り早く隠し場所を知っている者に案内させる方法です。地を這う努力は君には似合わないだろう、ルパン。
Oh.
何言ってるんだよ、ホームズ。俺はホームズの助手じゃないか。それを疑うなんて。
では一つ尋ねよう、ワトソン君。君、頬の詰められた跡はどこに消えたんだ？あんな短時間で亡くなるとは思えないのだが。
I can't believe this. It really was a sign of his love.
ルパン、君なら手っ取り早く隠し場所をあぶり出そうとするはずだ。そのために君はわざと罠にかかった。それでワトソン君はどこだ？
心配しなくたって大丈夫さ。彼なら研究所の資材庫の中で魚と仲良く泳ぐ夢でも見ている。
Watson explained with a playful smile. Oh, I wish I could see that. This was because he was not Watson at all. With this smile came his transformation into Lupin, taking each of the men in the room by complete surprise. How'd he do that? I wonder if they had a special sprite for Lupin, Watson. If only. I think that would be pretty interesting to see. Yes! 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 Oh, I love this.
何？
And, of course, an outed thief of his caliber would be a fool if he didn't escape through a plume of smoke. The room was filled to the brim.
なんだこれは。急に煙が。
Pick a card, any card? They're all hearts. It's because you stolen my heart.
これは
Holmes then felt an unusual graze upon his cheek. He let go of Lupin.
今のはトランプ。
待て、ルパン！
The gemstone did not disappoint. Certainly its deep aquamarine could have reflected the very glow of the sea in its shade. Ah, what radiance! And Lupin thought it even more beautiful, knowing he had to outwit Holmes and Scotland Yard to obtain it.
こんな場所で再び君に会えるなんて運命的だな。この美しい早急の宝石が僕たちをつなぐ架け橋になってくれた。そうは思わない？
否定はしないわ。本物のサンタマリアがここにあるって分かったから来たんだもの。
Wow, the inspector and Ryan really didn't do a good job of hiding it, did they?
どうしてこのアクアリウムの中に隠してあると？
さっきライアンさんの服の 肘の箇所だけ濡れていたのに気づいたの。手を洗ったりしても普通なら肘ではなく袖口が濡れるはず。
Good job, Ryan.
腕まくりをして水にでも触れない限り肘の部分が濡れることはない。ライアンさんたちがそこまでする理由があるとすれば宝石、それでサンタマリアの隠し場所は水の中の可能性が高いと思ったの。だとしたら宝石を傷つけないように海水魚、大型の魚の水槽は避けるはずよ。淡水魚で小さめの魚の泳ぐアクアリウム、それを探したらこのアクアリウムだった。
They could have prevented water damage by putting it in a bag, I think. I cast a swift glance at the Santa Maria glistening in Lupin's hand.
そこは僕に導かれてとか情緒的な返しを期待したんだけどな。神秘的な宝石に導かれた二人、実にロマンティックで絵になると思わないか？
Lupin, it's okay, I can show you a better way to cope.
全然思わないわ。私はあなたを阻止したくてここに来たの。
Oh, this is a really cute sprite.
写真を取り返すために。
You look so... Oh? Oh? You're approaching me? Oh, well?
堅実な切り返しだな。まるで警官か探偵みたいだ。
探偵みたいじゃないわ。私は探偵なの。
そうなのかい？僕には君は人の言葉を真摯に受け止める愛らしいレディーに見えるけどな。
からかうのはやめてちょうだい。
I'm sorry, the British government would never spring to invest so much taxpayer money in protecting a single gem. But they made a cage? Or did they just kind of have that lying around? Actually, that does seem like a government thing to do.
君のくるくる変わる表情を見ているのは飽きなくて楽しいけど、残念だな。君はもう僕には関わらない方がいい。それが君のためだ。
Not until you recognize that we are the biggest beauty in this world. Come on, take us, Lupin. Come on. This tear, which he often adorned, that sincere, playful smile, was overshadowed by a much colder impression. Yet I refused to step down. Why would I give up on his demand? I couldn't accept it. I wouldn't.
私があなたに従うと思っているの？そうはいかないわ。写真は返してちょうだい。
Those plastic bags cost like 10 pence or 15 cents from Ollie.
それはできないな。
返してもらうまであなたを追いかけて離れないわ。あなたの思い通りになると思ったら大間違いよ。
やれやれ、勇敢だけど困ったお姫様だな。お姫様がお望みなら好きなだけ僕を追いかけてごらんよ。できたらの話だけど。
We will.
待ちなさい。
With masterful flexibility, Lupin leapt to a nearby window and jumped. We can do that too.
だけど確かこの研究所は渓谷の形に沿って建てられているはずだから、ここで逃げられてたまるもんですか。
Yeah, we climbed trees as a kid too. We can follow him. I followed, placing my foot on the window frame before hopping out clumsily. Why clumsily? Equally clumsy was my landing, which had dirtied my dress. Certainly I didn't possess the adroitness of a thief, but I had the tenacity of one. Dirt was hardly concerning.
待ちなさい、ルパン。
Parkour! He disappeared behind a sharp corner of the facility, and I turned the same one soon after.
写真と宝石を返して。
This path we were on was too narrow for this sort of work. It became thinner, softer, and the ground more unkempt beneath my steps. I nearly tripped over myself once or twice. When overlooking the cliff. That's dangerous! Oh my god, Freya! This wasn't the time. Any more mistakes and he was sure to get away. Or maybe, Freya, you could trip and fall off of the cliff? And then Lupin would catch you? And tell you to be careful? And that he was so afraid? And then he'd hug you? Huh? Yeah? Is that a good plan? Or what? My butler senses are going crazy. The mistress is grubby. I focused all I forced all focus on Lupin. If I was to catch him, then with the exception of it being one more obstacle in my pursuit, the ground was not to come into play here. My focus became its most concentrated, then it was disrupted by a hole in the ground, causing me to lose my balance. I couldn't slow down, I couldn't stop, I couldn't prop myself against anything. Wait, off the cliff? There was nowhere for me to go but off the side of the cliff. I didn't think she'd actually do it. I thought that she would just, like, chase Lupin to the end of the cliff and then he would jump off and suddenly have a paraglider. Because, Lupin has a paraglider, right? Am I thinking about somebody else? I didn't think that he's gonna catch her from falling off the cliff and hug her and say that actually he cares too much about her. I didn't think that would actually come true, oh my god. I could grasp nothing. I watched, in a speed that felt considerably delayed than reality, as my hair flapped wildly across my face with gravity's pull. No, don't jump off that cliff. It's poisoned. The ground below was too far for me to see. How deep was the gorge? What was down there? These answers did not matter. It could have been forestry or flatlands, but the result would be the same. Not if Lupin has anything to say about it. The seconds passed, but time only continued to slow for me. I had heard that the moment you die, your entire life flashes before you. I saw no such thing, but I could have believed this was that moment nonetheless. Did the world slow down to show me what I was leaving behind?
たく、君って人は。
A desperate scream from somewhere far off reached my ears. But there was no way for me to see who it was. By God's blessing, my consciousness soon descended into darkness. I welcomed it. I wished not to see how my life would end. Along the bottom of Cheddar Gorge was a river. Oh wow, we landed in water. That means no fall damage. It was an ordinarily modest river that, upon a sudden splash from above, became defiled by a human carrying another in their arms.
大丈夫か?
For the record, Cheddar Gorge is 400 feet deep, which is relatively small, but deep enough to make falling a long and unpleasant experience. Yeah, that's, is that long enough to, like, reach terminal velocity? And I am just going to save this. Okay, back to the game. When he reached land, effort gave way to pain, and he was able to feel the sharpness of such through his right foot.
右足首、水面に叩きつけられた衝撃で。
He lay the young lady whom he rescued at the side of the river. It's a little short of terminal velocity if Google is correct, so there's a chance! She had been drenched, eyes unopened, and hair twisted over her nose and lips. In a rushed panic, he placed a hand on her cheek, gave it a light pat, and prayed for a stir.
しっかりして。気を失ってるだけか。
Mm-hmm. But still, we could maybe benefit from a bit of CPR? Eh? Let's go 30 chest compressions! The news was not yet cause for celebration. Her face was pale and her breathing shallow.
まったく、自分のことを顧みずに追ってくるなんて、とんでもないお姫様だな。それにつられて引き返した僕も、まあ、人のこと言えないかもしれないけど。
And love makes fools of us all. Lupin witnessed Freya's fall, and more than he desired a dramatic escape, he desired her rescue. He dived downwards without hesitation. Though he had his glider ready, I knew it! He did not want to risk opening it until he had her in his arms. They fell. The gorge was tall, and felt taller with the ferocious air cradling them. Lupin held her preciously, and with one free hand he hoped to spread his wings before being forced to bear the full impact of landing. This universe differs from ours in Cheddar Gorge having an above-ground river and not merely an underground one. A good change. Yeah. He managed it, whilst nearly losing his chance at that, but his luck was stellar and he was saved by both the glider and the river below them. His injuries were minor, but as he was not a man built for injury, even a sprain might be considered severe. Aw, is this your first broken bone, Lupin?
しかし、ずいぶん遠くまで流されたな。それに、このタイミングで雨か。ついてないな、お互い。
Well, it looks like we better try to find a cave or a hut and huddle together for warmth. The weather in the gorge was well known for being fickle. It could be dry and pleasant only moments before a storm hit. The moment Lupin felt settled, a cold, heavy rain erupted. I was under the impression that that was England in general.
僕はともかく、彼女をこのままにするわけには。
The temperature dropped more so with dusk, which was fast passing into night.
今の時期、この辺りは夜から朝にかけて気温が氷点下まで下がる。その状況で雨に打たれ続けたら。
Oh, or maybe you could send out a distress signal for your dad, and then bring her home with you?
まずいな。
It would be a trial to move without a proper splint, but he had to chance it. The best he could do for the time being was tear a piece of the sash at his waist and bind his ankle as tightly as he could.
今は早く彼女を雨から守れる場所に移動させないと。
Lupin gathered the Countess in his arms a second time. He knew she was lighter than this, but her dress, a rather beautiful one pageanted with ruffles and frills, was soaked by rain and river, making her twice her normal weight. Freya, why did you wear your fancy dress on your way to apprehend a criminal? A discourteous thought, but difficult to unthink.
すまない。冷たくて辛いかもしれないけど、もう少しだけ。
Her body was lifeless. Lupin held her to his chest, but she made no sign of responding. To his anxiety, she was no more than a rag doll. His ankle ached, and his heart. Whether he made to strain himself to use it lightly or cope with the pain, the result was the same. Step by step, ache by ache, he walked. Oh, to love is to suffer. There was little vegetation to be seen throughout Cheddar Gorge. It was more known for sheer cliffs and exposed rock. And its rain was unkind and no lighter than when Lupin started. Much-needed energy had been rightfully sapped and could be sapped no more. Upon sight of a cave carved out of the rock, at last shelter was found.
今、火を起こすから、ちょっと待ってて。
He knows how to start fires!
しかし、こんな時に父さんから昔盗んだ特製マッチが役立つなんて、スマートじゃないな。
Sorry guys, when did it disconnect? I didn't see anything. I'm sorry. Here's the backlog. Anyway, we found a cave. Did you guys get up to the cave? Oh no, I don't see anybody. Oh no. And now he's considering burning his cards for warmth? Lupin. No, I don't want to exit the game. It was, close. Right. How right. The playing cards, specially treated to resist wear and tear, were his weapons and symbolic in their own right. Other goods on his person, however, were rendered unusable. A shame, with Kindle being otherwise limited to twigs.
さすがにこれを火にくべるわけには。
Before he could rest, Lupin tensed at a sound that drowned the rain. Howling. Ah, wolves!
狼。しかも複数で近い。やれ。ついていないと嘆くべきなのか、カードが無事で喜ぶべきなのか。すぐに戻るから。
That's right, we're back. How long were we gone? When did we cut off? How many of my cool jokes did you guys miss? Since the match has been... Okay, so we weren't gone for long. Yeah, I can't believe Lupin stole from his dad. Anyway, he was using twigs and those matches he stole from his dad, and now he's considering using his playing cards too. baby. And now he's going to fistfight some wolves, I guess? His whisper, darling, courteous, and gentle, was so near only she could have perhaps heard it. He placed a hand along her cheek. She was still cold. Oh. Lupin left the cave to keep the beasts away from Freya. Leave them alone, Lupin. Don't use your playing cards. What if you need to go hunting for food? And there was no labor on his part to find them. Their bodies were obscured by the downpour, but their eyes, fierce in their glow, were all too distinct. The cards remained his only weapon. He raised them for battle. I guess he's hunting for food now?
レディーを待たせてるんだ。君たちと遊んでる暇はない。早々に立ち去ってもらうよ。
The wolves didn't do anything. What? Thank you for contributing to the challenge, Vivlio. When they were close enough that Lupin could see their form, one bared its teeth, eager for flesh, with the rest following suit to pounce.
悪いけど、サービス抜きで行かせてもらう。
And so, symbolic swords were drawn, the thief with cards which cleaved through the air in perfect formation, and the wolves with gnarled fangs and outstretched claws. They're only attacking because he attacked first. But hey, a growing boy's gotta eat. It was the cards that saw victory. Lupin, whose energy had long been exhausted, felt no relief as he turned back to the cave, his right foot now being dragged along the ground between terrible limping. Did you bring the meat back with you at least? Each step became an exercise in preventing his collapse. Oh, Lupin.
どうし...
Am I awake? Something wasn't right. What life she possessed to her before was drained. He strained himself to reach her, his knees clapping to the ground and grateful to no longer carry his weight. Freya showed no signs of opening her eyes. Breath was ragged, body was shaking. To the touch, she was like ice.
冷たい。
Lupin could not help but gasp when he held her hand.
この冷たさ、あの時と同じだ。
Oh.
母さんが死んだ時と。このまま火を焚くだけではダメだ。早く彼女を温めてやらないと。
Gotta dry her. What was this? He'd started a fire and it flickered faintly, but there was more warmth to the air than before. His hand moved towards her clothes.
どうしてこんなに。
Fingers, hands, arms, chest, and all were cold. Her face was sickly in appearance. The red patches of blood blustering at her cheeks did nothing for the translucency of her eyelids or the unnatural bruising of her lips.
僕は怪盗だから、人に何かを与えるのは得意じゃない。それに、今の僕には自分の持っているものしかあげられない。
I'll accept all of it, Lupin.
だから、僕の熱を、返品不可だから、ちゃんと受け取ってくれよ。
Lupin removed what was left of his torn sash, his coat, and his blouse, which were all dripping with rainwater. Then, illumined by the fire, he raised her shivering body into his embrace. You got all this realism after a 17-year-old boy fought off an extinct species with playing cards. Oh my god, are English wolves extinct? Did he just kill the last of them? Oh, just a second. Oh, this is not that kind of game. Not to worry, this is not that kind of game. Oh, I am sweating. Now it's fresh. Alright, I'll read all of the dialogue out loud until this is out of the way. Again, this isn't that kind of game, okay? Freya's back was pressed against his chest. Lupin caught her rapid heartbeat. I mean, this is correct in that, you should focus on drying somebody who's suffering from this? Drying them and their clothes? definitely their clothes. But dude in the middle with the clear glasses, same expression. And her hair, wet and untidy yet still soft, brushed his cheek. The feeling was divine. Please don't be getting any ideas, Lupin. Lupin, hi, I'm Christian. I'm a good Christian girl. When the thief noticed a matted set of strands against her neck, he took the utmost care to separate them. Oh, that's so gentle. Freya says,
なんて細い。触れてみるとよくわかる。
Lupin says, she's so slim. It only takes a small touch to realize that.
こんなに華奢な体で僕を必死に追ってきたんだな。
He says, and this slim body had all that strength to pursue me? It's because we make sure to eat breakfast every morning. Right, Pendleton? No more shaming us now, right, Pendleton? Even her nape was beautiful. He pulled her closer, nestling his nose against it. Don't get any funny ideas!
いい匂いがする。なんだ妙に。
What a sweet smell she has. It makes me feel oddly calm, says Lupin. Her golden hair glistened with the fire, and as he observed, it curled into damp waves that brought to mind the sea.
それに綺麗だ。
And she is beautiful. It was an honor to know her. Though in truth, since he was well aware of his sensibilities, there was more than honor to this. There absolutely was. Lupin would be a fool to ignore it. She was enchanting. Well, will you admit it when we're awake? He brushed a light kiss along her neck and nothing more before bringing her close. This is spicier than I had expected, coming off of Akechi's root.
背中越しに君の鼓動が
I can feel her heart beating.
僕よりもずっと速い。
It's going so fast. Much faster than mine. That's good. Get that circulation going. Her rhythm was pleasant as she. Yes, he was absolutely enchanted. And at last in his enchantment could he close his eyes and be lulled to sleep. Oh my god, we're just going to bed like that? Are you sure that's a good idea?
この
Oh no, Freya is awake.
焚き木
That sounds like firewood? Is there a fire nearby?
それに
It's so cozy. Like I've been wrapped in something.
暖かい。
There's a fire and the last 5 wolf pelts in the UK. I hadn't a clue how much time had passed or what had happened to me. There was then, and there was now, a sense of here. I had no desire to open my eyes or move. This warmth, whatever it could have been, had the pleasantness of a cozy winter's blanket that I would sorely miss once stripped from me. It reminded me of all those mornings when I was desperate to stay in bed.
私
What happened to me? I remember chasing Lupin,
どうしたの
and then I was falling from that cliff. And then... Sadly, there was no drifting into slumber left for me, and so I opened my eyes with due caution to my new surroundings. The first thing I spotted was a dwindling fire, and after that, soot-colored walls. A cave? Oh, has Lupin been awake? And tending to the fire all night? Did he remember to give her clothes back? And there was a pair of arms wrapped around my chest, both of them as unclothed as I was. Lupin! Oh, he was good at starting a fire if it lasted all that time. Arm?
腕
Chest? Why aren't there clothes?
と
Good news, everybody! Lupin is wearing pants. All the breath left me in a silent scream.
私どうしてこんな姿に
Or rather, I just remembered that pants means something different in the UK, right? It's okay, Lupin is wearing trousers.
何も身につけていないなんて
Freya is completely naked.
一体
Well, what happened? And whose arms are these?
この腕は
Lupin? Good morning, Lupin. Pants in the UK defaults to underpants, yeah. Then what do you wear? Then what are the underpants under? My confusion was mounting over all else, and the mumble that tickled my ear made my heart leap from shock. Something began to stir on my shoulder.
目が覚めた？
Are you finally awake? I wasn't expecting to hear a man so close. No appropriate response came to mind. Was there an appropriate response for this? When no answer came, the arms latched further onto me with a tender strength. Pardon? There was another's skin against my bare neck, a feathery head of blonde against my bare shoulder. Oh, you can even see the little bandage that Lupin put over his knee, over his ankle. You wear trousers with pants beneath them? Trousers, I think, is more generic than in the US. Yeah, definitely. The entire upper half of his body was exposed, whilst mine was entirely...
ルパン？これは一体...
Good news, everybody! Lupin has abs!
寒くない？
You're cold, aren't you? Lupin made no effort to move, and his timbre delivered the quiet, hoarse texture of morning. I felt a shiver when his breath soothed the back of my neck. I want a Lupin drama CD. And actually, that's a really big fire. I wonder if I could just make this really... Ah, no, wrong one. Okay, what about like this? That's a really big fire, right? We're just gonna admire that fire. No abs.
寒くは
I'm not, but...
でも震えてる。
But look
こ
at you.
んなに。
You're shivering, says Lupin. We are playing a dangerous game. We are playing a very yabai game. I was sensitive to every mild shift where our skin met. That isn't because I'm cold. That's, because... Lupin loosened his hold to caress my cheek with the back of his hand. Oh, that is so gentle. Oh, God, I wish that were me. There he was, moving again. And with skin leaving one place for the next, his heat lingered through my back, shoulders, chest, and all throughout, setting wherever was touched next the light. My back seemed to mold to his front perfectly. The shame was enough that I hoped I was still sleeping. Oh, God.
君が寒くないならよかった。
If you aren't cold, then I'm glad.
さっきまで
You were shaking
す
so
ごく震え
much
てたから。
earlier. Lupin's whisper dropped so that I nearly couldn't hear it. Contrary to the vivacity he displayed in our encounters, he was now docile, but charmingly fierce in the way one was when they refused the call of sleep. No, I must say so, streamer. This is just not according to what I had expected. It was just not expected. Oh my God, when did we reach the community challenge? Congrats, everybody!
君が冷たくて怖くなったけど、こうして暖かくなって。
I was getting panicked when I felt how cold you were. I'm glad you warmed up. I'm not sure if you're able to hear Lupin since he's whispering, so it's a pretty low voice, but his whispering sounds really nice. I like it a lot. His hand caressed my cheek and played with my hair.
ねえ、
You've struck me, Freya. says Lupin.
君はこんなに小さくて柔らかい。
You're small, and you're soft. I am small and soft.
こんなに小さな体で僕をずっと追いかけていたんだね。
I didn't think anyone like you would have the nerve to chase after me. I'd been lost to a cumbersome emotion that was, at the same time, agreeable. The magic it worked made my heart thump from the mere sight of his skin, and though my mind wished to swirl into confusion, Lupin emerged from the mess as its one true occupant. A startling something Ahem? This something nestled through my hair to touch my nape. It's his hand, everybody! Surely it was Lupin behind this, but I didn't know what he was doing. Huh? What are you? When I twisted my body to see him, he trapped me in his arms more securely. I wanted to huff at what a child he was being, but I could do nothing. Not even a stern breeze could have found a path between us. We were so close. There was no path to run or hide either, for had I stood, my shame would be twice as much. I wished again that I were decent. Lupin, can you take your hand?
待って。
Wait,
お願い。
please.
この
Don't
まま
move.
動かないで。
Can you guys imagine Akechi in this situation? Akechi would just die. He would perish. The tickle which weakened me before returned, together with the answer to the mysterious something. Lupin had been rubbing his forehead at my nape like a kitten in need of attention. That's so cute!
Lupin?
Lupin. The way he held me then, I felt treasured, needed. I want a guy to hold me like that. He gave adoration openly, and at this moment I rather didn't mind. Akechi would have set the cave on fire trying to cover you up with wolf, rabbit, and stoat pelts. It somehow made the words he used all the more captivating.
ね。このままで
Please,
いて。
stay like this. Oh, he sounds so weak and whispering.
僕とずっと。
Stay with me. Always. Lupin's speech was growing sluggish and intermittent by the second. Also, Kobayashi would have found you by now the moment he reached to slip your dress off. He relaxed his hold on me in the lightest, sweetest way one could, before he stopped moving.
寝ちゃった。
He's gone to sleep. At last he was at rest whilst using my shoulder as a pillow. Well, let him sleep.
あら。ルパンの右足。
I don't think his ankle was bandaged back at the facility.
布のひょっとして
Was he injured
私
saving
を
me?
助けてくれた時に
A thought occurred. Was that Lupin's voice I heard when falling? Oh, forget it as a mere thought. It was the only logical conclusion. That without his calling out, without his rescue, without his injury, I would not have survived the fall.
この格好のままでいるのは恥ずかしいけれど
I'm not comfortable staying in this state of undress, but it'll be wrong to wake him. Yeah, he needs his rest.
もうちょっとだけなら
I suppose I can let him sleep for now, she says out loud to herself. I closed my eyes again. If I didn't see this warmth as naked arms, then it was my hope I could will my imagination into believing it a simple blanket. Yet it was no longer as comfortable as when I'd first awakened. It was steadily becoming hotter anymore, and I should have liked to melt and wash away with the rain. God save her. Was my heart the guilty party, perhaps? It beat far more rapidly now than ever before.
ルパンの鼓動が伝わってくる
I can feel his
私とは違
heartbeat.
った
It's a completely different rhythm to mine. I'm pretty sure this is actually the suspension bridge effect. This isn't a substitute for chemistry, but I like Lupin, so I'll forgive it. The two, my heartbeat and his, created a dense heat, serving at first as a healthy distraction from sleep. Then it became the fuse. Beat by beat, the sound became a song, and the warmth enough to lull me to dreamland. I was flat against the ground when I next awakened with a cloth beside me. The cave, which only had the light of the fire previously, was now adorned with the sun. Alright, I'm just gonna assume you're decent again, Freya. Yeah. 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 Okay.
おはよう、僕の眠り姫。
Aww. He called it Sleeping Beauty. That was much too close. I wanted to squeal. You already did. It startled me out of what little sleep there was left in me.
お目覚め一番に僕を呼んでくれるとは、なんとも嬉しいね。
Narrated voice, she was not decent. Oh no! Lupin was kneeling next to me with what looked like a collapsible cup of water in his hand. Midnight passed and the magic of the night was gone. He returned to the ever-so-sly smile that marked the thief, and he'd smartly fashioned himself in his muddied clothes.
はい、お水をどうぞ。
Thanks, I love invisible water!
ありがとう。
The cold of the water against my parched throat was lovely. Upon finishing the cup, I noticed Lupin had been watching me the entire time.
何？
いや、いつまでその格好でいるのかなって、僕としてはとても嬉しいんだけどね。
Wow, slightly muddy flavor, my favorite. And Lupin's not even blushing. I grabbed the cloth beneath me and wrapped it around my body as swiftly as I could manage.
私、まだ学校じゃない。こっち見ないで。着替えるから、あっちを向いてて。
はいはい、仰せのままに、僕のお姫様。
As you wish. What did he call me? My dearest?
今、僕のって。
Because he's always called us princess, right?
ああ、言ったけど、どうかしたのかい？
Correct choice!
どういう意味なの？
え？どうって言葉通りの。
ダメ！まだ振り向かないで。
I collected myself until I was satisfied. I'd return to behaving in a manner befitting a young lady. Dressed myself in my clothes Lupin left to dry, and then curiously observed the bandage at his right ankle.
ねえ、ルパン。その右足って、もしかして私のせいで。
ああ、これ。君をどんな風に優雅に運んであげようか考えてたら、布が枝に引っかかってね。それで巻いてみただけさ。
He's such a good boy trying to make us not worry about him. It's not gonna work.
でも右足、ちょっと引きずっているじゃない。
はあ、ねえ、こういう時は嘘でも騙されてくれない？紳士がレディを助けようとして怪我するなんて、そんなのかっこ悪いじゃないか。
What a gentleman.
私を助けてくれた人に対して、かっこ悪いなんて思わないわ。どうもありがとう。助けてくれて。
君のそういう律儀なところ、たまに胸が痛くなるよ。
痛むのは胸じゃなくて足でしょ。大丈夫なの？
これぐらいなんでもないさ。僕は昔骨折した足でそのまま獲物を盗み出したことがあるんだから。
Lupin, please don't do that.
それ本当に？
いや、嘘だよ。
Okay, good.
また私を騙そうとしたわね。
Lupin, you will be the death of me.
華麗な盗みと可愛げのある嘘は怪盗の1000倍特許さ。こればっかりは職業癖だからどうにもならないな。
I had been gullible. I never should have been soft in the face of his earlier charms, for he was a thief, and a thief would always remain a thief. but the thought pained me. Not because I'd been soft, but because I wished that it could have been soft without consequence.
ルパンだったら諦めずに犯人を追い続けるのは探偵の専売特許よ。さあ、盗んだ写真を返してちょうだい。
あの写真は手放した方が君の身のためさ。
Oh?
私の身のため？それって一体どういうことなの？
それは。
Lupin never answered. The silence pervaded till we both heard a call from outside. Pendleton!
お嬢様
あの声はペンデルトンだわ。
He must have spent tireless hours searching for me upon my disappearance. Holmes and Watson's voice trailed vaguely behind his.
どうやらお姫様の迎えが来たようだね。それじゃあ僕は早々に立ち去るとする。
待って。
Lupin motioned to exit, but I grabbed his arm before he was allowed the first step.
あなたはどうして私を助けてくれたの？
I thought she was going to say something like, "You need to get your leg treated."
写真は返してくれないし、追いかけたら逃げるし、平気で嘘をついて私を騙すのに、どうして泥棒のくせに私を助けたの？どうしてまた自分勝手に消えようとするの？
困ったお姫様だな。僕がいなくなるとそんなに寂しい？
Yeah.
それは。
I had no counter. Would I miss him? It wasn't an immediate yes, but I did consider, if we parted ways here, when would I see him again? Would I see him again?
どうして私はこんなに不安なのかしら。
ね
Lupin tugged my arm and pulled me towards him. He was so gentle as I faced him, his arms around me as my hands were pressed against his chest.
え、頼むからそんな辛そうな顔しないでくれないか。
Aww.
君をからかうのは楽しいけど君を困らせるのは不本意なんだ。
そんなの矛盾しているわ。
僕はもう君には何もあげられない。どんなに望んだって僕自身がそれを許さないから。自分の道のためなら僕は平気で君の前から消え去れる。
Please don't.
だから辛くなるくらいだったらもう僕のことは忘れた方がいい。
何もあげられないって言っておいて、どうしてこんなに優しく抱きしめるの？
Yeah, you have something precious to give us. It's your heart.
どうしてこんなに温かいぬくもりを私に与えようとするの？
The scoundrel, the thief, the swindler. I could think of any number of names to denounce the man that brushed away my hair so bashfully. And as the list went on, they became more meaningless. I thought the words, but I didn't reject the man. So what did that make me?
やっぱりあなたはずるいわ。それに散々人のことを振り回しておいて、人の気も知らないで。
こう見えても僕は怪盗なんだ。君が自分の幸せを考えるんだったら僕のような人間とは関わり合いにならない方がいい。幸いもう君に会うこともないだろうし、今は君の幸せってものを心から願ってるよ。
Lupin, you are my happiness. Lupin presented what looked to be a most heavenly, lonely smile. And then he placed his hand over my eyes.
さあ瞳を閉じて僕のお姫様。
Ah, his dearest. I could feel his whisper humming near my ear, his breath on my skin. The tenderness of his fingers spread to my cheeks, to my shoulders, to my chest.
さよなら。
I felt a pressure against my lips. No doubt it was the same pressure I'd felt before. I could push away his hand now and open my eyes to dispel the moments if I wanted. But I didn't want to. I wanted to hold on to what little magic there was left.
君の幸せを祈るよ。
He withdrew slowly. The warmth of his hand was leaving me. Did it have to be so cold without it? I reached out to where he ought to have been and felt nothing. Opened my eyes and saw no one. Our magic had faded to nothing. There was, however, in Lupin's place, a card I'd never seen before at my feet. It depicted the Queen of Hearts, who returned my frown with a serene smile. Its symbolism. I picked it up and inspected closely, realizing it was the same signature he'd always left at the scene of his thefts.
もう会うことはないって。
I hadn't expected to feel this lonely without him here.
お嬢様、お怪我はありませんか？
Just our heart, Pendleton. Just our heart. I watched the exit, thoughts fully engaged in him and his whereabouts, until the three found me. In the time it had taken for Freya to reunite with her rescuers, Lupin was reunited with his father. How'd he do that?
ひどい格好だな。パパのような大怪盗を名乗りたいんなら、身だしなみには気を使え。
Arsene, your son fell off a cliff.
父さん、悪いけど、今は何も聞きたくない。ちょっと黙ってて。
パパは、お前の反抗期なんか、怖くないんだからな。
He's such a dandy, Papa.
それに、女性の扱いってのは獲物よりも難しいんだ。冷たく突き放す愛だってあるさ。
はあ、父さんはいろんな愛の形を知ってるからね。
蔑みの目をパパに向けるな。言いたいことはわかるが安心しろ。パパの一番は、昔も今も、お前の母さんただ一人なんだからな。
ああ、そう。
なあ、ジュニア。とりあえず一つだけ聞かせろ。
何？
ホワイトリー家の写真を盗んだのはなぜだ？
そんなの、聞いてどうするんだ？
お前、誰かから盗み出すように指示されたわけじゃないだろうな。
Oh?
まさか、パパの代わりにあの組織、スペルバウンドなんかに乗り込んで母さんの。
僕が父さんの代わりに？そんなのありえないな。僕は自分が一番大切なんだ。自分以外のために苦労しようなんて考えたこともない。
はあ、自己愛も愛情の一つだが、お前はもうちょっと違った愛を学んだ方がいい。例えば、親子愛とか。
結構だよ。
He refuses.
愛なんて知ったところで、結局、僕は手放すしかないんだから。
This isn't what your mother taught you, Lupin. The last part was but a mumble, and its utterance concealed beneath a sigh so his father would not hear it. The day after we returned from Cheddar Gorge was a school day. Ah, yes, we just fell off a cliff, but still, we must go to school.
お嬢様、本当に本日学園へ？
学生の本文を怠ってはいけないって言ったのは
確かにそうですが、ルパンの事件以降、お嬢様は少し様子がおかしいようなので、ため息をついて顔を上げたかと思えば、またため息。そしてその繰り返し。
That's just the life of a girl in love. I would know.
まるで恋煩いでも抱えているような振る舞いです。
That was not the word I expected. Oh, no, 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 no. It was absurd.
恋煩いなんてそんなこと。
そうでしたか。私の気にしすぎだと。
I see, Pendleton says, and puts away his gun.
それなら安心しました。ではお嬢様、さっさと学園へ行きましょう。
手のひらを返すとはまさにこのことね。
Pendleton, now content with my decision to treat this day as an ordinary one, rushed me through finishing my breakfast and gathering my books for school. I'd insisted several times that I was well to Pendleton, which weren't lies. I was able, quite able, even as I sighed my way onto the classroom, and when my heart felt heavy, I sighed again.
ペンデルトンは恋煩いなんて言っていたけれど、
The memory of Lupin's lonely smile came to mind.
私が彼のことを。でも
know, I feel like Freya has less chemistry with Lupin in this one, like compared with Akechi. But it looks like this is more built on action than the what they had between them to start with, so I guess I'm okay with this. And besides, it has really good CGs.
いや久しぶりだな。もう怪我は大丈夫なのか？
I'd hope to dismiss it. The first thing I heard was Watson, whose cheerful voice carried outside into the hall the moment I turned the handle of the classroom door.
両足捻挫って聞いた時は驚いたけど、元気そうで安心したよ。
Plus, there's a Lupin and Lupin emotional split. Most of the build-up has been with a persona. That's true. Ah, man, I'd love to see him put on that persona again. Or at least put on the glasses. Glasses. In fact, I think that most of the boys here would look really good with glasses. Who wouldn't look good with glasses? Nobody.
両足捻挫って
Wait a second. Watson isn't talking to us. He's talking to the classmate who broke both ankles. I swung open the door with so much force I thought I might break it.
あなた
Before me was an unexpected sight. A blonde-haired, bespectacled boy.
はあ、ごきげんよう、ミス・ホワイトリー。
I can't believe it right after we said that. Perhaps there was a hint of magic left after all. Oh boy. And I think that it's with that cliffhanger that we're leaving off for the day.
届かないって。
Out of reach, huh? Oh my god, look at him though. Or no, I'm gonna keep going. I'm just gonna save here. Heck, Lupin. John Lupin's forehead teetered upwards to convey his distress. This face was such a constant that anyone would sooner raise their eyebrow in suspicion if he were to behave with composure. Not us. Anyone except for me.
ミス・ホワイトリー
どうしたんだミス・ホワイトリー。鳩が豆鉄砲を食らったような。
おいホームズ、彼女は崖から落っこちて大変だったんだぞ。
ルパンを追いかけ足を踏み外し転落だなんて。スコットランドヤードも真似できない系統だ。
I said nothing. Whatever Holmes and Watson said went in one ear and out the other.
大丈夫ですか？
You.
大丈夫かですって大丈夫なんかじゃないわよ。ふざけないでよ。
ミス・ホワイトリー何を？
いいから来なさい。ルーピン
I gripped the wrist of the world's greatest liar and dragged him behind me. The more he played to our schoolmates with false whimperings, the angrier it made me. And the more this anger was building, the more constricting my grip around him became. Oh my god. Everyone here just thinks that this is bullying.
ルーピンは両足を捻挫してたんだから、もうちょっといたわってあげた方が。
And the same as how he was gentle with us last night.
心配いらないわ、ワタさん。私が引っ張っているのは彼の腕なんだ。
She says that so sweetly.
そういう問題ではないだろう。
とにかく私はルーピンに大事な話がある。そこをどいてちょうだい。
ミス・ホワイトリーメガネがずれるからもうちょっと優しく。
メガネがどうしたって言うのよ。一緒に来なさい。
Bother your glasses.
おいってもう出てルーピンのやつ 一体何をしたらあんなに彼女を怒らせられるの？
さあな。
I didn't listen to anyone else, for it didn't concern them. Bit by bit, through my tiny stature and his heels digging into the floor in protest, I forced him out of the classroom. We made it to the courtyard, which at this time was devoid of people. With only the two of us present, I could at last speak my mind.
ルカ、あなた一体どういうつもりよ。これだけ私に大層なこと言っておいて、普通に学園に来ているなんて、もう会うことはないだろうとか、あなたのことを忘れた方がいいとか、思わせぶりなこと言っていたじゃない。
僕そんなこと言いましたっけ？
He's doing his best to play dumb.
言ってたわよ。あの言葉は、あの悲しそうな顔は一体何だったの？全部嘘だったの？あなたは私をからかって遊んでいたの？
Again, he made me out to be a fool. I went without sleep fretting over his last words, and to what end? It made me pitiful. It made me sad. I was so angry. I wanted to cry.
簡単に騙される私を見て、
ミス・ホワイトリー、僕は
あなたにとってはただの嘘でも、私にとっては
Huh? I was called into silence by him merely calling out my name.
君に最初に言っておきたいんですけど、華麗な盗みと可愛げのある嘘は怪盗の1000倍特許です。前にもそう言いましたよね。辛くなるくらいだったら僕のことは忘れた方がいいって。
God, the voice actor is so good. Who was he now? Lupin? Lupin? He dressed the part of the former, but he acted the part of the latter. I knew they were one and the same, of course, but which side was he trying to show me?
僕は元から君の涙を拭ってあげられるような人間じゃないんです。僕に誠実さとか約束を守るとか、そういうの求めないでください。
そうね。あなたは怪盗だもの。盗んで
I could do nothing but accept, and with it, my anger subsided. In its place was a reminder that I'd been nothing but foolish.
私はルパンに一体何を期待していたのかしら。一人で勝手に熱くなって、私は本当に振り回されっぱなしだわ。ルパン、あなたがどんな嘘つきだろうともう構わないわ。
できれば今はルーピンって呼んでほしいんですけど、まあ別にそこまで贅沢は言わないです。それで何か僕に言いたいことがありそうですけど。
Oh man, it's so weird to just hear his Lupin voice coming out of his gentle sprite.
ええ、お父様とお母様の写った写真を返してちょうだい。あれは本当に大事なものなの。
This is good though, it is. It's so good.
それはできません。
But look with his voice, there's a reverse gap moe. No, I think that it's just regular gap moe.
どうして？
君が知る必要はありません。
それで私が納得すると思っているの？
思っていません。君は写真のためなら崖から落ちることも厭わない人ですから。
誰も落ちようと思って落ちたわけじゃないわ。
君が納得しようがしまいが、僕の答えは変わりませんよ。
私だってあなたが何と言おうと諦めるつもりはないわ。
I'm okay with that coldness too, Lupin.
あなたが写真を返すまで追いかけて離れない。どこまでだってついていくんだから。
それはダメだ。
Nice. With an aggressive air about him, it was now he who grabbed my arm before pushing me back against a nearby wall. Cabedon! Lupin, just take a photo of the photo. I think it's because the photo itself is dangerous and that it implies something? Maybe? Ah, Lupin, you're hurting me. Do it more.
そんなの許さない。君にそばにいられたら迷惑だ。
The force he applied was so unrestrained that I could have near stopped breathing at any moment. This awkward, horrible pain must have shown in my expression. If it did, then it did nothing to affect him. He continued to restrain me with a cold power I'd never known he had, and a glare that felt hostile in nature. I was powerful in the face of it.
こんな顔見たことない。
Ah, and his eyes are such a beautiful shade of purple. A chill went through me as I watched Lupin and Lupin, both deceivers, both holding me down, and yet it was neither.
言っただろ。君と僕は生きる世界が違うって。僕が求めるものを手に入れるためには君は邪魔なんだ。これ以上僕を困らせるのはやめてくれ。
Oh, I want to kiss those lips. I felt I'd been pierced then. His face, his voice, everything he was, no matter which mask, denied me.
それに僕と一緒にいれば君が危険になるだけだ。そうでなくても君はホワイトリー家の当主として危険にさらされて。
ルーピン
Lupin, what if people are watching?
とにかく君はもう僕に関わるな。それだけだ。
Can you imagine what any passerbys would think of this? He roughly tore his hand away.
待って、ルーピン
He paid no heed to my cries, instead walking farther and farther off until he could surely not hear me.
待ってよルパン
No matter how I begged, he never once turned around. Oh, hello? Hello, is that Elio or Ilia? Welcome! Again, I'd been left alone.
本当に自分勝手だわ。それにずるいわよ。
Right now we're playing an otome game, London Detective Mysteria, and we're on Lupin's route. I love him so much.
散々困らせておいて、自分は困らせるなだなんて。
My wrist still felt hot where he'd grabbed me, but it was a lighter pain than what he left in my chest. It could not have ached less had he pulled out my heart and trounced it before me with his boot. I would be okay with that too.
だったらどうして私の目の前に現れたりなんかするのよ。
Hi,
どうして
Morbidius!
私を振り回すのよ。
まったくだよな。こんなに可愛い子を泣かせるなんて親の顔が見てみたい。
Papa! Papa, what are you doing here? Look at him! Look at what Arsène Lupin has become. This is our Lupin's dad, the original Arsène Lupin. I hadn't expected any sort of response.
あなたはここは学園関係者以外は立ち入り禁止じゃ。
About to pack some things? Good luck, Morbidius.
ああ、俺はここの中庭のアレンジを頼まれた庭師。いや、ガーデニングプランナーだ。モーリスと呼んでくれ。
Oh, thank you for the zip. All right. Ah, I was mistaken. This isn't Arsène Lupin. This is a nice gardener named Maurice. A gentleman greeted me with a severely kind smile, and with it a childlike candor that was evident in his every motion. What a dad desperately trying to be hip. Yeah, that's his entire aesthetic.
いやー、ハリントン学園に来たのは初めてだが、いい学校だな。子供がいたら通わせてやりたいくらいだ。
Lupin, you just got disowned. What malice I'd felt before was melted. A man like this, whose low voice gave the impression of one good-heartedness to his soul, could very well have been designed for this purpose. Yeah, good-hearted to his soul. Yeah, they just used the same VA to save money. Yeah.
この笑顔にちょっと誰かに似ているような。
それで君はさっきのメガネの小僧と喧嘩でもしたのか？
喧嘩なら私も言い返せたんでしょうけど、私はそれができるほど彼のことを知りません。あの人が何を考えているかなんて何もわからない。私あんなに自分勝手で欲張りでわがままな人は見たことがありません。
それはひどい。恋人には向いてないな。
あんなに自分を後回しにしてまで私を助けてくれた人も見たことがあ
Freya,
りません。
don't make Pendleton cry.
そんな人にまた会えて嬉しいなんて思う自分はもっとわかりません。近づくなと言われて落ち込む自分は。
君はとても綺麗な心を持っているんだな。あいつが本腰入れて守りたくなるわけだ。いや、俺も若い頃に恋人に振り回されてな。それが美人で可愛くて、ちょっと頑固なところもまた良くて。俺が送ったプレゼントのネックレスを一生の宝物にするって言って笑ってくれるような女性だった。
Aww.
ネックレス？
だけど急にいなくなった。俺と息子にありったけの愛情を残してな。
モーリスさん、あなたもしかして。
一度愛情を奪われると人間ってのはなかなか人を愛せなくなる。失うのが怖くてな。俺の息子は強い。だけど誰かを大切に思うことに関しては人一倍臆病者なんだ。
If only somebody taught him coping mechanisms besides committing felonies. Right, Maurice? Isn't it a shame?
特に君にはな。
Oh. Well, I could see that both father and son wore the same sly smile. Lupin dismissed his foul mood soon after the incident, returning to one of his hideouts to concentrate on business matters. He was alone and reading an order received from Spellbound, so he is taking orders. What the heck is Spellbound?
スペルバウンドにおいて力を拡大し始めたジェームス・モリアーティ教授を危険分子とみなす。始末せよか。
Interesting. So they're a criminal organization and against Moriarty. Rivals? Beneath this order was the location of his target.
ようやくあなたにたどり着いた、モリアーティ教授。
Upon immediately committing its contents to memory, Lupin set fire to the order.
母さんを殺した張本人、そして母さんの宝物を奪い取った小汚い悪党。
That doesn't sound like something that Moriarty would do. I mean, from the pop culture depictions of Moriarty that I've seen, he would definitely have slicker ways to get his hands on something than murder. The real story was not so vague as the one he'd shared with Freya. He knew, for instance, that his mother had infiltrated Spellbound on the hunt for information. Yet, Professor Moriarty was aware, and he set a terrible trap to which she fell prey. And she, at her most vulnerable, had the necklace she was never seen without taken. In time, the injuries she sustained overcame her. That still doesn't explain anything.
許さない。必ずあのネックレスを取り戻して母さんの仇を取る。
The professor was a man as cautious as he was brilliant, a mastermind who made certain to never involve himself in criminal activity directly, and whatever indirect traces there happened to be were purged to dust. Lupin insisted, despite this, on tracking the man's location, and his persistence paid off. He learned that only Spellbound's highest authority would know of it. And to receive this information directly, he would have to earn it through a partnership. He despised the organization, immensely so, but the prize was simply too enticing to ignore. He'd have to start from a regular user, and then earn his affiliate.
母さんを殺したスペルバウンドに協力するなんて、最初は吐き気がしたけど、使える駒はどんどん利用したいんだろうな。一番のお偉いさんから仕事が来るまで、そんなに時間はかからなかった。
The one who ordered him to steal the photograph from the Whiteley household was the same one who now ordered him to murder Professor Moriarty. Their communications had been solely through letters, and thus Lupin could only speculate to this person's identity. But he was a masterful speculator.
どうして彼女の家からあんな昔の写真を盗み出させたのか、初めは分からなかったけど、あの写真の中にはあの方の秘密が。だけどそんなことに興味はない。僕はずっとこのチャンスを待っていたんだから。
Only after he confirmed what was left of the order was ashes did he stand.
今まで僕はずっと自分のやり方を貫いてきた。自分の欲する獲物を盗み、だけど今回は違う。母さんの仇を取るためなら、あいつを、モリアーティをこの手で殺す。
Oh, Lupin.
随分と殺気立っているな。
Hi, Papa.
パパが甘いミルクティーでも入れてやろうか。お前好きだっただろ。
Lupin, do you want some boba?
結構だ、父さん。
母さんの部屋で何をしていたんだ。
Oh, this is his mom's room.
なんだっていいだろ。
お前は母さんが大好きだったからな。まあパパには負けるけど、母さんが家を留守にしていた時はいつもここで一人で帰りを待っていただろう。それで母さんが叱るのはいつもパパだった。どうしてちゃんと一緒に寝てやらないのかって。
父さん、思い出話なんてやめてくれ。あなたはどれだけ母さんを語ってもその仇を取ろうとしない。おまけに僕には母さんを殺した組織には関わるなと言った。
Arsene, it's a little too late to just, tell your son that he has brighter prospects ahead of him after you taught him how to steal things.
ああ、確かにそう言ったな。
父さんは母さんを愛していたんだろ。じゃあどうして仇を取ろうとは思わないんだよ。
Lupin, possessed by anger, slammed the fist onto the nearby table.
言ったはずだ。パパやお前は怪盗だと。怪盗は盗みはするが、決して人の命は奪わぬ。パパたちは怪盗の美学を汚してはいけないんだ。
It's part of the Phantom Thief Code that he wrote.
僕は父さんとは違う。目的を果たすためなら、母さんの仇を取るためなら、喜んで手を汚してやる。何だってしてやる。僕は父さんと違って臆病者じゃない。
お前はそうやって満足してるつもりかもしれないが、一つ大切なことを忘れてるぞ。自分の目的に酔いしれて、今この瞬間も二人の女性を傷つけている。
二人？
一人はお前が幸せに生きることを望んで死んでいった母さん。もう一人はお前をまっすぐ懸命に追いかけ続けている子だ。わかるだろ。
もう彼女は関係ない。
女性を突き放して傷つけておいて関係ないか。母さんが天国で聞いてたら大激怒だろうな。ジュニア、思ったり愛するのが怖いなら、せめて彼女を大切にしろ。女性を泣かせる男は年に関係なくかっこ悪いぞ。
これ以上父さんのザレ言に付き合っている暇はない。
He's both a good dad and a terrible dad. He really should not be a dad, like at all. But right now he's the best one Lupin's got. Lupin then retired, the coldness of his statement ever pervading the room.
どうして仇を取ろうと思わないんだか。当然の疑問だよ。だがな、パパも 母さんとのたった一つの約束くらいは。
As recorded in his order, he set about for the designated hideout post-haste. It lacked the extravagancies of a typical mansion, enough that one might declare it plain upon first sight. There was no indication of importance, no hint that it housed the man to whom Lupin dedicated his hatred.
窓に鉄格子か。それにあの窓に使われている板ガラスは軍隊で使われる強度と同等のものだ。おまけに各玄関口には一人は見張りがついている。どうやって中に？
Disguised as one of the guards. A man approached the entrance.
あの歩き方。重心が少し右に傾いている。上着の右内ポケットに拳銃を入れているな。モリアーティ教授の部下か。ちょうどいい。
Lupin crept forwards in fleet-footed fashion, just as the man reached for the door handle. He was swift. With but a single chop to the back of the neck, the man was unconscious, completely unaware of the entire incident. I can't believe Lupin just broke this man's neck.
悪いけど、君の顔借りるよ。
And so Lupin began to study the face of this man on the ground.
何？侵入者だと？
ああ、ここに忍び込もうとしているところを捕まえた。
お前、随分と手ひどく痛めつけたみたいだな。顔がボコボコじゃないか。
モリアーティ様に合わせろとうるさかったんで、布をかませたが。
それならお前が直接こいつを連れて行け。
俺が？
あの地下室が気味悪いのはよくわかる。でもさっさと戻ってくればいい話だろう。ほら。
くそ。ほら来い。君一応顔がボコボコで大怪我してる状態なんだから、もうちょっとそれらしくもがいてくれないか？
Can you guys hear the fireworks?
ああ、うるせえな。大人。
Beneath the mansion was a vast space of drab, solemn walls and pillars.
お客人とはそこに転がっているもののことか。
At last, Lupin heard the music he so desired. At last, the slow groaning of wheels transformed, by his own years, long anticipation, into an a cappella fit to grace a theater. At last, there he was. Yep, that's Moriarty, all right. And hello, Butler. Hello. Do you have a name, my good sir? The sharp features of a clever man, a single eye that pierced enough for two, rigid posture that coerced supremacy in a wheelchair than the tallest of men. At last, one of Spellbound's most powerful men, Professor James Moriarty.
はい、モリアーティ様。ここへ運ぶ途中に激しく抵抗したので。
抵抗とは随分愚かな真似をする。こんなに痛めつけているのにな。
はい。
そうそう。愚かな真似といえば、一つ面白い話を聞いたな。
He knows just pull out the gun and do him in.
どうやらそこに転がっている侵入者の他に、もう一匹ネズミが入り込んでいるらしい。
It was upon his words that the basement became swarmed with the professor's subordinates.
君がこの私を狙っていることなど、とうにお見通しだ。ルパンジュニア。
He has a name and it's John. All at once they raised their firearms.
僕の訪問をこうして出迎えてくれるなんて。
あなたは親切な方だな、モリアーティ教授。
Lupin had no more need of his disguise and quickly removed it to face his enemy as he was.
これほどの銃を向けられても戦意を喪失しないとは、蜂の巣にするには惜しい人材だな。どうだ、ルパンジュニアよ。あの方ではなく、この私は他の誰よりも君をうまく使ってやるぞ。
Hey, we're the only ones here who are going to be making use of Lupin.
僕がここへ来た目的を知っているのなら、虫唾の走るセリフを吐くのはやめてくれないか？僕はあなたを始末しに来たんだ。組織に不要となったあなたを。
あの方が私の力を恐れて手を打つことなど亡き母親の敵討ちのために。
だったら話は早い。僕に殺される用意は整っているってことだ。
Prepare to die!
君こそ私にカードを配る前に力尽きないように頼む。せっかくの舞台なんだ。せいぜい華麗に踊って私を楽しませてくれ。
ああ、死ぬ直前に存分に楽しむといいさ。
Guns fired whilst Lupin kicked the ground to propel himself upwards.
遅いよ。
He evaded bullets through lithe acrobatics that were second nature to him. And to counter, he threw playing cards, knocking weapons out of hands and setting them clattering across the ground.
何早い。どこを見ているんだ。狙っている獲物を見失うなんてありえないな。
I'm glad he got a set of new cards. After he used his old one to, hunt a pack of wolves, I guess?
そんなに使えない目だったらいっそ潰した方がいいんじゃないか。
None of the underlings have eyes to begin with. Lupin flicked his wrist to furnish the men with several more deadly cards. They missed, barely and quite unintentionally. Each one raised hairs above its target's eyes before impaling the wall.
なんてね。美しいものを見るためにもその目は取っておいた方がいい。例えばこんなものとかね。
He next reached into his coat and revealed not cards, but roses shaded a perfect red.
うわっ、どこからこんなバラを。
それは仕事上の秘密。ちなみにそのバラのトゲには強力なしびれ薬が仕込んである。ちょっと触れるだけでも毒が回るから気をつけて。
Ah, that's why the gloves.
体が動かない。
One man fell, then another. The third, fourth, the fifth. That major fool, the minor lift, the hallelujah. It was an elegant line of men subdued by a thief whose performance was as dangerous as it was magnificent. Not one could overcome these theatrics, and so they all lay whilst partnered with a single rose.
なかなか躍動感のある動きをするじゃないか。私には真似できない芸当だ。だが果たしてこれは避けきれるかな。
Lupin moved at the sound of a blast that could have ruptured his ears. Splinters from the pillars scattered in all directions.
あれはリボルバー式のショットガンか。1回のアクションで放射線上に複数箇所へ着弾か。殺傷能力は高くないが捕まると厄介だな。車椅子にショットガンを仕込むなんて変わった趣味だな、モリアーティ教授。
これでも狩猟をたしなんでいたんでな。獲物をどうやって追い込んで仕留めるか。
あなたらしいな。悪趣味極まりない。
さあどうするルパンジュニア。このまま私に仕留められるか、それとも私の配下となるか。
Hey, ours is the only hand that Lupin is going to be lapping from like a dog.
どちらもお断りだな。僕は獲物を盗む怪盗だ。自分が獲物や駒になる気はない。
Lupin jumped before Professor Moriarty's revolver shotgun. 1 second, for there wasn't two to spare before the trigger was pulled. Lupin threw a card. The card struck the weapon, sending it across the floor.
どうして銃を弾いたんだ。私の首を狙えばいいというのにおじけづいたのか。
Basic strategy, Moriarty.
そんなわけないだろ。カードにあなたの汚らしい血がつくのが耐え難いだけだ。
Lupin retrieved it and pointed it directly as the man remained smiling, unmoving, unfearing. The thief despised this caustic smile.
そんなに殺されたいならさっさと終わらせてやるか。
いい、実にいい目だ。ただの怪盗で終わらせるには惜しい。君はすでに私たちの立派な仲間。地の底に潜む闇に落ちたも同然だ。
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Lupin already accepts this. That's why he told us to stay away. He's just here to do a murder, old man.
さあ、私を殺してみろ。君はそのために己を曲げて ここまで汚れたのだろう。
He gripped the shotgun so tightly that his aim grew unsteady.
今になっておじけづくのか。母親の仇だというのに、君の覚悟はその程度か。ほら、さっさと引き金を引くんだ。今ここで私と同じように、その手を汚せ。さあ。
あなたのような人とルパンを一緒にしないで。
この声、まさか。
What? I love how every handsome thief type character is like, what weapon should I have? You know, I like Uno.
ルパン、彼を殺してはダメ。人殺しなんてしないで。
How the heck?
どうしてこんな場所に？
あなたのお父様に教えてもらったの。彼もずっと組織のことを調べていたのよ。
What? After hurrying into the mansion's basement, I charged in front of Lupin to keep him from his target. I'm okay with this too.
そこをどけ。
嫌よ。
どけと言ってるんだ。
どかないわ。
君は僕の邪魔をするのか。
そうよ。モリアーティ教授は間もなく到着するスコットランドヤードに引き渡すの。
The pistol.
冗談じゃない。彼は僕がこの場で殺す。さっさとそこをどくんだ。さもないと。
さもないとどうする？大切な彼女ごと私を撃ち殺すか？
Oh, that change in expression. The crackle of a bullet deafened my ears, and then my body leaned to one side. I couldn't support myself, collapsing upon a terrible pain in my right leg.
安心しろ、ミス・ホワイトに。痛みは生きている証だ。君はまだまだ使い道がある。
I was clutched by my hair and my head lifted from the floor. Hey, only Lupin can do that! The pain that came with this, impossible to describe. It felt as though my neck were ready to snap. It was so instantaneous, like lightning through the spine, there and gone, and a scream clawed at my throat. Wow, she came here just to get taken hostage, huh? But I bit my lip. Even when my every nerve were to scream, I had to refuse. My leg had a pulse of its own. It throbbed, throbbed, throbbed. Every single instant jetting through me like in a violent rhythm.
何もこの車椅子にしまってある銃はショットガンだけではない。早とちりはやめておいた方がいいぞ、ルパンジュニア。ついでに教えてあげよう。私は君の弱点もお見通しだ。彼女を人質に取った瞬間、顔色が変わったが、どうしたんだ？
Freya just showed up and made everything worse.
実につまらないな。君は母親に似て実に愚かだ。
なんだと？
君はこれに見覚えがあるか？
Professor Moriarty revealed to Lupin a necklace with a pale pink gemstone embedded in it.
それは。
もしかしてルパンのお母様の。
彼女も私の配下となれば死ぬことはなかった。惜しい。さあ、今一度尋ねよう、ルパンジュニア。この私の配下になる気はないか？
闇に落ちたとか汚れたとか、僕のことは何とでも言え。だが貴様は僕から大切な宝物を奪って怪我した。そして今度は大切な女性を傷つけた。許さない。
There was no tremor to Lupin's gun this time. It was steadied, direct, fueled by a kind of lust that so effortlessly haunts a man who longs revenging another.
このままじゃ。やめてルパン。私は大丈夫だから。だから殺してはダメ。
So, are we gonna get any explanation for how Freya got in touch with Lupin Sr. again?
君はちょっと黙っていろ。
嫌よ。
Shouting was unbearable. It sent new anguish down my leg whenever I tested my body with movement. But I had to speak.
こんな人のせいであなたが自分を貶めるなんて。今まで散々あなたに振り回されてきた私が。ルパン、あなたは怪盗でしょ。怪盗が自分の美学を捨てるなんて、そんなの私は認めない。絶対に嫌よ。だって自信家のあなたが自分に嘘をつくなんて。騙すのは私くらいにしてよ。
Yeah, you can't run from your feelings.
あなたが怪盗の道を外れたら、私あなたのこと嫌いになるわよ。
She says more specifically, if you stray from your path as a phantom thief. Keep on thieving, Lupin.
ねえ、それって怪盗だったら僕を好きでいてくれる？
それは。
I didn't know what to say. Say yes! Just say yes! He released an easy laugh, one that made him so familiar to me. This was the Lupin I knew.
モリアーティ教授、僕の母さんは組織の情報を盗もうとしたスパイだった。そうでしょ？
ああ、そうだ。身の程を知らずに組織に近づいた。
そんな愚かな女性の身につけていたものをどうしてあなたは処分せずに手元に？
何が言いたいんだ？
あなたは母さんに気があったん
Well,
だ。
what? I thought that it was just out of spite.
そう、まるで愛情に飢えた子供のようにね。
Lupin, is this a bluff?
何？
遅いよ。
Did that bluff work? Lupin discarded the shotgun from one hand and chanced to knock Professor Moriarty to the ground with a playing card. He met with success. Rolled a d20. Before I could move on my own, Lupin scooped me into his arms and held me preciously.
モリアーティ教授、あなたには悪いけどこのネックレスは返してもらおう。当然彼女もね。
Held just as preciously in his hand was the necklace Professor Moriarty teased moments ago. Both of the villain's sleeves were now fastened at the wrist by Lupin's cards. No amount of pulling could separate them. What are those cards made of?
君はこれで勝利を収めたつもりか？
モリアーティ教授、僕は自分の手に負えないような面倒事は嫌いだ。だからあなたが組織の中でどうなろうと何の興味もない。
Sorry, Moriarty, you're flush out of luck. Wait, this is just a straight. I'm a thief, not a magician.
だけどこれだけはよく覚えておけ。僕はもう何者にも縛られるつもりはない。あなたにもスペルバウンドにもね。
母親の仇を野放しにしておくというのか？
教授、あなたはとても哀れな人だね。僕の母さんはとても美しくて魅力的な女性だったから。
Is it not a
あなたが
bluff?
欲したのも当然だ。
What the heck?
残念だったね。母さんの心はとっくの昔に。
Is this real?
そう、この俺のものだったからな。
A grand interruption arrived at the scene and cast himself to take center stage. He was tall, handsome, and aggressive by his first act of sending the professor across the room with an intense strike. Indeed, it took one gentleman thief to eclipse another.
いや、君にはいくつか訂正しなきゃならないことがある。
So, are we gonna see him? With his cape and his top hat and his monocle?
モーリスさん。
Aww. Wait, she's still calling him Morris?
一つ目、モーリスっていうのは俺の親の名前。俺の本当の名前はまあ一回くらいはどこかで聞いたことがあるだろう。
Actually, is Morris another literary reference?
二つ目、俺はガーデニングプランナーじゃない。 華麗かつ有利、そしてスリルとお宝を求める大回転さ。
What a twist!
最後に3つ目、恋人には向いてないって言ったけどこのアルセーヌ・ルパンの息子はやっぱり俺一押しのとびっきりいい男だ。
Dad!
父さん、あなたって人はいきなり乱入してきて。
You're embarrassing him!
なあ、固いこと言うな、ジュニア。パパにそういう寒い視線を向ける暇があったら早くレディーをここからお連れしろ。
でも父さんは。
パパはこの男とちょっと込み入った話があるんだ。
His mouth formed a laugh so broad it creased at the edges, and yet his eyes were frighteningly cold like steel. Oh, that's hot.
話し合いならスマートに済ませてくれよ。
まあそのつもりだ。ほらほら、彼女をこれ以上待たせるなよ。
ああ、わかったよ。
ルパン？
Lupin held me more carefully than before.
だけど父さん、一つだけ言わせてもらうけど。
分かってるって。熱くなりすぎて自分もヤードに捕まるなんてヘマこのパパがするわけ。
そんな心配しちゃいない。
You can get arrested for all I care, Papa.
僕の目の前で気安く彼女の名前呼ぶのやめてくれ。何かすごくイライラするから。
Maurice LeBlanc was the author of the Lupin book, so he was his papa? Oh, that's neat! Oh, I wonder if that means that this game's, Watson's papa had, like, also took on the pen name of, what was it, what was the Sherlock Holmes author's name again? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, right? Yeah! Got it in one! Nice! I wonder if this Watson Jr.'s dad is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. His parting words were spat through a mumble before carrying me away.
まったく、母さんを俺に横取りされた時と同じ顔してた。
I'm really concerned. An Oedipus complex is not the ideal foundation for a relationship. But Lupin is really hot.
しかもちゃっかりネックレスまで持っていくなんてとんでもないやつだな。まあちゃっかりしているのは母親にだろうな。さすがは俺たちの息子だ。
私を捕まえたところでスペルバウンドは消えることはない。私は何度だって影の世界に舞い戻ってみせる。
まあそうか。じゃあその時は何度だってあんたの行く手を遮って邪魔してやるよ。あんたみたいなやつがこの町を牛耳ってたんじゃ。美しいものをめでることもままならないからな。
Yeah, good people like the Lupin family.
そんなつまらない場所を俺の愛する人は望んじゃないし。
For whatever reason, Lupin brought me to a park I recalled fondly.
ここはひょっとしてグリニッチパーク？
No one else was present. It was just us, a satisfying silence, and the hills. Yeah, this is where we had our first kiss. Dawn was soon approaching, it appeared. From west to east, the sky bled from black into blue.
ああ、そうだよ。よく覚えていたね。
覚えているわよ。だって
だって
言わないわ。
どうして？
言いたくないから。あなたと初めて言葉を交わしてからかわれて宝石を盗まれた場所だから。
僕もよく覚えているよ。ここは君との思い出の場所だから。あの時も僕はこうやって君を抱えて降り立った。
Lupin's eyes appealed with a certain fondness upon reminiscing, and the sight warmed me.
あの時は今と違って君はしっかり地面に立っていたけどね。
大丈夫よ、これくらい。
いいから君はここに座ってちょっとじっとしてて。
He was delicate in setting me down on the bench closest to us, and he continued this as he bent to one knee and held, with all due permission, my leg. To one knee, you say?
すまない。君の綺麗な足に傷を作ってしまった。
Can you kiss it better?
ルパン。
And he continued still, treating my injury so as not to inflict further harm.
ええ。どうしてかしら。ひざまずいているルパンを見下ろしていると、お姫様に忠誠を誓う騎士ってこんな。でも私とルパンの間には約束も誓いも。
そんなにじっと見つめられると僕もちょっと期待してしまうんだけど。どうしたんだ？もしかしてきつく布を巻きすぎたとか。
He's worried.
で欲しいって言ったら。
え？
期待して欲しいって言ったらあなたはどうする？
She's doing it!
なんてね。ちょっとあなたの真似してみただけ。
Yeah.
僕は誰にも縛られない生き方を選んだ。それはつまり今まで協力していたスペルバウンドを抜けるってことだけど、きっと彼らはそう簡単には僕を許さないだろう。僕はもうこの町にはいられない。
Well, then we'll follow him. What's a new city when compared to going to Japan? It was the strength of a man who'd made up his mind, the cadence of the resolute who sacrificed for the greater good. It was awful to hear.
でもモリアーティ教授が捕まって少しはこの町も住みやすくなるはずだ。だから君も
行かないで。
ん？
私を置いていかないで。
Oh. As soon as I started, there wasn't any way for me to stop. The words gushed.
あなたはいつも勝手だから、私が会いたいって思っても追いかけても決して待ってくれない。振り向いてもくれない。私がいくら手を伸ばしたって届かないわ。いつも空をつかむだけよ。
Poor girl.
君にこれを返そうと思っていた。
Oh. Lupin just then chose to produce the very treasure I'd been seeking, the photograph of my mother and father.
この写真は君を真実へと近づける。それと同時に危険もね。だから。
何を？
Wait, was it related to Moriarty? I thought for sure it would be related to that, Earl that we had met earlier in the route. He produced a second item, a match which he sparked immediately, flaunting it before my eyes, before setting fire to the photograph with no hesitation. Oh my god, he's trying to get us to hate him. And I wasn't fast enough to stop him.
これが僕の精一杯だ。
Lupin crushed the glowing pieces between his palms with a sharp clap. They opened again seconds later with a comparatively gentler parting. My treasure, my memory, became ash, particles to be blown with the wind.
家族が託してくれた宝物なら、これは君が持っているべきだ。
Wow.
ちょっとサイズが小さくなったのは多めに見てほしいけど。
He was really careful with it, huh? You know, Lupin, you could have just torn it? All that was left was Her Majesty with the smiling faces of mother and father next to her.
どうしてこんなことを。
これで君が僕を追いかける理由がなくなっただろう。
そんな。
How could this be? I should have been rejoicing. I should have had the photograph back intact. I should have delighted at the thought of never having my heart played by this thief again. By all accounts, I most certainly should have. He was telling me this moment would be our last.
写真を取り返すとかそういう問題じゃないわ。
Give us back our heart. I wept. I could stifle cries of pain, but tears flowed liberally.
やっぱりあなたはずるいわ。ずるくて自分勝手でひどい人よ。
This wasn't it. This wasn't what I wanted to say. None of it was. But the weeping persisted, and so too did the condemnation.
ああ、僕はひどい人間さ。ずっと君から逃げ続けているくせに、君の気持ちを確かめずにはいられない。君の願いに応えられないくせに、君からの思いが欲しくてたまらない。
I'll give you as much love as you want.
本 本当に欲張りよね。
軽蔑した？
しょうがないじゃない。それがあなたなんだもの。
いくら君が優しくてもそこは軽蔑してほしかったな。そうでなきゃ僕は君の優しさに甘えてまた君を傷つけてしまう。それに本当は僕は君の涙を他の誰にも君を触れさせたくないって思ってしまう。
You can be as greedy as you want, Lupin. Lupin's smile was one of remorse. And though he said he could not, as always in his life of contradictions, he lifted his hand to caress my cheek and wipe away my tears. Even after he continued to stroke it with the back of his hand, a docile, gentle repetition had moved me and restricted me all at once. He was a man of so many faces, but the warmth he shared with me was always the same.
ねえ、最後に一つだけ頼みがある。
Kiss!
僕が10数える間だけ
Yeah.
目を閉じてじっとしていてくれないか？
We can do that. The first time he asked this of me, it ended with vexation. The second time, it ended with loneliness. But perhaps the third would be different.
それだけ？
うん、それだけ。
数え終わった後もあなたはここにいてくれる？
ああ、ここにいるよ。
If only he were a better liar.
わかった。私あなたのこと信じるわ。
What other answer could I give?
うん。君の信頼に感謝するよ。
Oh, this hurts.
それじゃあ、目を閉じて。僕のカウントが終わるまで目を開けないように。
え
え。いくよ。10、9、8。
The dawn arrived as I closed my eyes. I waited and listened. Each number uttered was my tell of how close he was. I dug my nails into my palms, keeping my arms rigid at my side to prevent myself from reaching out to him. He drew nearer, nearer, and nearer.
7、6、5。
Something wrapped themselves around my clenched fists.
ルパンの
His fingers pressed against mine, to which my fists relaxed. He broke between them till we were intertwined.
温かい。
Oh, double hand-holding, fingers intertwined. When I squeezed his hand in affection, only just enough for him to know I was well, he returned it.
4、3、2。
How much longer would this last? How much longer would I know the feel of his touch? I was afraid. The answers were waiting for when I would next open my eyes.
1。さようなら。
Oh, look at them. Look at them. Look at them. A warm sensation met my lips. This time he was the one to squeeze my hand. As he did with me, I returned it eagerly. The way we kissed conveyed everything we needed to know about one another. It was the kind that stood in place of confessions of love, the kind of infatuation I'd only read in fairy tales.
欲張りなルパンらしくない。控えめでなんて。
Lupin kissed like a gentleman, generous but chivalrous. Passion shared was only just enough, a show of adoration without submerging me. Could this be because we were alone? To think all this time he did nothing but run, 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 twist scenarios and conjure fallacies to his amusement, until now, finally, he stayed because he could not hide how he wanted me. I wanted him too, by my side. The kiss could have been seconds or minutes, but the heart becomes dull to the hours and moments like these. Lupin teased me with a playful bite to my lips before parting. Oh. I now stood, eyes still closed, to a silence I wish weren't there, to one less welcoming than the one I shared with him. Reality awaited my return, and so I opened my eyes. The park had been illumined by the rising sun, shimmering at every peak with vivid color. Never had I seen it look so beautiful. But Lupin was gone, and I was now alone. There was a particular something different to before, however. A necklace around my neck that wasn't there before.
これはルパンのお母様の
It must have been before he kissed me.
このネックレスローズクォーツの宝石で
It didn't take long for me to remember the symbolism behind its color.
ルパンやっぱりあなたは嘘つきねここにいてくれるって
There was no one to wipe away my tears no matter how hard I cried. They fell endlessly down to my cheeks, dropping from my lashes and chin to land on this necklace of mine that was right away so very wonderful.
写真を私に返してしかも真実の愛なんてネックレスをその代わりに私の心を盗んでいったなんて
Their time ended with all the emotions I'd felt previously and more. I could shout his name in anger and he would not return. I could beg him to come back, but I would still be lonely. I could grieve and there would be no one to wipe my tears. And so I cried alone on such a beautiful morning. And this is where I'll call it for today. Gonna punch Lupin in the deep. Ah, too long. Lupunch. So that's what it means by out of reach, huh? Yeah, I hope that's not the end. This hurts. Well, we're only 3 chapters in, and Akechi's was 4 chapters long, right? Oh god, that's assuming that all routes are equal length. Oh god. Oh god, if the bad end is shorter than the good end, then we are going to reload! Oh god, I hope it's not, though. It's okay, we got him to call off his revenge, and that's a good sign, right? Right? Oh geez, the fireworks are coming in full force. I remember watching the fireworks with Luke before, on our first date. It was in August, actually. Yeah, we started going steady in June and went on our first date in August. I mean, our first date between just us two because, you know, we normally went out with our mutual friends. Didn't really have much of a time for just the two of us. It was nice. This game is nice. Thank you everybody for coming. The title screen. This has been London Detective Mysteria. I will see you again next week for this. Oh, thank you so much for the sip. Alright. And tomorrow I'm also going to be streaming Our Life Beginning and Always since I wasn't able to do that on Saturday. And let's see, who shall we raid? It looks like Ray is streaming. So let's go. Everybody give her a fond hello. I hope to see all of you next week for what's probably going to be the last part or the second to last part of Lupin's route. It's ended up like taking fewer parts than Akechi's, but I'm really satisfied with this. Alright, getting ready to raid in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go! And to everybody still watching along, or who's watching along at home, thank you so much for watching. This has been Freya Fukunaga, signing off. Bye bye!